O-Level Physics, Paper Code 5054, Paper 1 Variant 2, October November 13, and today we are going to solve question 1 to question number 20. Question 1 is same as in Paper 1 Variant 1. This video I have already uploaded. So the questions that are same in Paper 1 Variant 1 will not be discussed here. I will share the link in the description for the video. So for further explanation, please watch that video. Next question. Question number 2 is also same as in Paper 1 Variant 1. Question number 3. The graph shows how the height of an object above the ground changes with time. What is the terminal velocity? Here we have plotted a graph in between time and height. Since here the graph is plotted in between time and distance, so the gradient here will represent velocity. Now it is asked what is the value of terminal velocity. What is terminal velocity? Terminal velocity means constant velocity. Now from the gradient it is clear that starting from this point up to this end point, this is terminal velocity because here gradient is a straight line. Since here we have to find out the value of terminal velocity, means here we have to find out the value of the gradient starting from this point up to this point. Now this gradient will be equal to y over x. Gradient is equal to y over x. Value of y is 3.4 because here it is 3 and one small square represent 0.2. So value of y for this gradient will be equal to 3.4. What about the value of x? Here it is 0.8. It is 0, it is 1 and one small square represent 0.1. So starting from this point it will be equal to 0.8. End point is 2.5. Here time we have to consider starting from this point up to this point. So this time will be equal to 2.5 minus 0.8. It will be 1.7. So here value of y is equal to 3.4. Value of x is 1.7. Since gradient is equal to y over x, so gradient will be equal to 2. And this gradient represent velocity. So here the terminal velocity will be 2 meters per second. Now we check the options. 2 meters per second is given here in option D. So correct option is option D. Question number 4. A sphere of mass 80 kg accelerates down a slope at 2 meters per second. The gravitational field strength G is 10 Newton per kg. What is the weight of the sphere and the resultant force on the sphere? Here we have to find out the value of weight and we have to find out the value of resultant force. Weight is given as product of mass and gravitational field strength. Mass is represented by m and gravitational field strength is represented by g. Now value of m is 80, value of g is 10, so value of w will be equal to 80 multiplied by 10, it will be 800 Newton. What about the resultant force? According to Newton's second law of motion, resultant force is given as product of mass and acceleration. Now mass is 80, acceleration is 2, so resultant force will be equal to 80 multiplied by 2, it will be 160. So here value of weight is 800 Newton and value of resultant force is 160 Newton. Now we check the options. In option C, it is given weight is equal to 800, resultant force is equal to 160 Newton. So here correct option, option C. Question number 5 is same as in paper 1 variant 1. Question number 6. The weight of a cylinder on the moon is less than the weight on the earth. How do the gravitational field strength and the mass of the cylinder on the moon compare with their values on the earth? Mass is defined as quantity of matter. Quantity of matter always remains constant whether the object is at the surface of moon or at earth. So here mass will remain same, mass will remain constant. Now what about the gravitational field strength? In the previous question we have checked that weight is given as product of mass and gravitational field strength. Mass is constant, so we can say weight depends on the value of gravitational field strength. With the increase in gravitational field strength, weight increases, and with the decrease in gravitational field strength, weight decreases. Since here it is given weight of the cylinder on the moon is less, so definitely the gravitational field strength on moon is less as compared to gravitational field strength on the earth. So here gravitational field strength on moon is less and mass of the cylinder on moon will be same as mass of the cylinder on the earth. Now same thing is given here in option C, that gravitational field strength on moon is less and mass on moon is the same as the mass of the cylinder on the earth. So correct option, option C. Question number 7. Two stretch spring X and Y are attached to one end of the meter rule as shown. A weight W is hung from the other end. A pivot is at the center of the rule. The weight W is moved towards the pivot. Here we have a pivot. It is two spring. It is X and Y. And here we have a weight W. This weight W is moved towards the pivot. Means this weight W is moved towards the right hand side. How does the extension of each spring change? When we will move this weight W towards the pivot, what will happen? This moment arm will be decreased, and with the decrease in moment arm, the total anti-clockwise moment will be decreased. When that anti-clockwise moment will be decreased, this rod will try to tilt on the clockwise direction. When this rod will try to tilt in the clockwise direction, the extension in the spring Y will be decreased and the extension in the spring X will be increased. Now we check the options. Same thing is given here in option C, that for spring X it is increases, spring Y it is decreases. This spring Y it is decreases, this X it is increases. So here our correct option, option C. Question number 8 is again it is same as in paper 1 variant 1. 9 is also same. Question number 10. Two vessels S and T are filled to the same level with the same liquid. The area of the base of S is less than that of T. Which statement is correct? Option A. The force on the base of S is greater than the force on the base of T. Option B. The force on the base S is the same as the force on the base of T. Option C. The pressure on the base of S is greater than the pressure on the base of T. Option D. The pressure on the base S is the same as the pressure on the base of T. Here the last option, option D, is the correct one. We have studied that the pressure exerted by the liquid is given as P is equal to rho GH, where rho is for density, G is for gravitational field strength and H is for height. Height means the distance from the surface of the liquid to the point where we have to calculate the pressure. Since here the liquid are same, so here definitely the density of both the liquid will be same. Second thing, gravitational field strength will also be same for both the liquids. Third, this height, it is shown in both the beakers. The liquid is filled up to same level. So here value of H is also same. Since here value of rho, G and H, all the values are same in S and T. So definitely the pressure exerted by the liquid in S will be same as the pressure exerted by the liquid in T. So here correct option D, where it is given the pressure on the base of S is the same as the pressure on the base of T. Question number 11 is same as in paper 1 variant 1. Question number 12. The conditions at the bottom and at the surface of a lake are given in the table. Here we have bottom of the lake, here we have surface of lake. Here temperature is given and pressure is given. Temperature is same at the bottom of the lake and at the surface of the lake. Whereas pressure at the bottom of the lake is 500 kilopascal and the surface of the lake it is 100 kilopascal. A bubble of volume 1 cm cube forms at the bottom of the lake. At the bottom of the lake, the volume is given 1 cm cube. What is the volume of the bubble as it reaches the surface? We have to find out the volume of the bubble at the surface. In Boyle's law, we have studied that at constant temperature, pressure and volume are inversely proportional to each other. Or we can say product of initial pressure and volume is equal to product of final pressure and final volume. Now here we consider initial pressure and initial volume at the bottom of the lake. At the bottom of the lake, pressure is 500, at the bottom of the lake, volume is 1 centimeter cube. So P1 will be equal to 500 and V1 will be equal to 1. Now what about P2? At the surface of the lake, the pressure is given 100 kilopascal. So P2 will be equal to 100 kilopascal. And the volume of the bubble at the surface of the lake we have to find out, that is taken here as V2. So here volume of the bubble will be equal to V2, and V2, by solving this one, we will get it will be equal to 5 centimeter cube. Now 5 centimeter cube is given in option D, so correct option D. Question number 13. When exposed to light, a solar cell generates electrical energy. Two solar cells of equal area are tested. Each cell is exposed to sunlight of different brightness for the same time. Which statement could apply to the more efficient cell? More efficient cell means here we have to find out the efficiency. What is efficiency? Efficiency is ratio of output and input. Means the efficiency will be more when we will get more output with less input. Now here in this question, electrical energy is our output and brightness of the sun is our input. So we can say if we will get more energy with less brightness, then the efficiency will be more. Now we check the options. Option A, it generates less electrical energy from the light of greater brightness. Option B, it generates the less electrical energy from light of same brightness. In both the options, it is given here it generates less electrical energy. If we will get less electrical energy, means output is less. When the output will be less, the efficiency will be less. So A and B are not the possible option. In C, it is given it generates the same electrical energy from light of greater brightness. Okay, first we will check the last option. In option D, it is given it generates the same electrical energy from light of lower brightness. In C and D, it is given it generates the same electrical energy. But in C, it is given that the input is more. Greater brightness means input is more. Whereas in option D, it is given lower brightness means here input is less. So here efficiency in D will be more as compared to C. So here we can say the cell will be more efficient, that is given here in option D. So correct option, option D. Question number 14. The diagram shows the path of a diver after leaving a platform and before entering the water in the swimming pool. The gravitational potential energy of the diver is 0 when he is at the surface of the water. Which statement about the diver's energy along the path is correct? The diver is moving along this path. When he is moving at this peak position, he has only gravitational potential energy, and at the peak position, its kinetic energy is 0. So total energy will be equal to kinetic plus gravitational potential energy. Since kinetic is 0, so here he has only gravitational potential energy at the peak point. So at the peak point, total energy will be equal to gravitational potential energy. When he is moving downward direction along this path, his gravitational potential energy is converting to kinetic energy in such a manner that total sum of this kinetic and potential energy remains same. Now when he touches the surface of water, all of its gravitational potential energy is converted to kinetic energy. So here total energy will be equal to kinetic energy. Now we check the options. Option A, at point X, he has only gravitational potential energy. When he is at point X, he is moving, and the energy by virtue of motion is called kinetic energy. So he has kinetic energy and it is given here he has only gravitational potential energy, so this one is incorrect. Option B, at point X he has only kinetic energy. This statement is also incorrect because when he is at point X, he is at some height from the zero position and gravitational potential energy is given as mgh. Since here we have some height, so here definitely we have gravitational potential energy. So option B is also incorrect where it is given he has only kinetic energy. Option C, his gravitational potential energy is always more than his kinetic energy. No, this statement is also incorrect. It is observed that at the peak point gravitational potential energy is maximum and at the 0 point the kinetic energy is maximum. So here gravitational potential energy is converting to kinetic energy. So we cannot say that always gravitational potential energy is greater than kinetic energy. So this option is also incorrect. Option D, the sum of his gravitational potential energy and kinetic energy is constant. Yes, it is correct. It is already discussed that when the object is moving, when the object is coming downward, its potential energy is converting into kinetic energy so that the total energy of the system remains constant. So here our correct option D, where it is given the sum of his gravitational potential energy and kinetic energy is constant. Question number 15. A saucepan is used to heat up some water. How is heat transferred through the aluminum pan and through the plastic handle? Aluminum pan and plastic handle both are solid, and in solid the heat is transferred because of vibration of the atoms or vibration of the molecules. But one thing more, aluminum is a metal and in a metal there is free electrons, and in metals the heat energy is also transferred because of the movement of electron. So in aluminum pan the heat energy will be transferred because of the movement of electron and also because of vibration of the atoms or molecules. Whereas in plastic handle the energy will be transferred, the heat will be transferred only because of the vibration of the atoms or the molecules. Because here in plastic handle there is no free electron, so here electrons will not be present, electron will be present only in aluminum pan. Now in the options, heat, we have two columns here. In the first column it is given heat is transferred through the aluminum pan by, in option B it is given the movement of free electrons and the vibration of the atoms. It is discussed here that in aluminum pan heat energy is transferred because of the vibration of atoms and also because of movement of free electrons. And in plastic handle the heat energy is transferred just because of the vibration of the molecules or because of the vibration of the atoms. So here our correct option is option B, where it is given for aluminum the movement of free electrons and the vibration of atoms, and for plastic handle it is given the vibration of molecules only. Question number 16. A silver cup is filled with boiling water from a kettle. A man touches the outside surface of the cup and finds that it is extremely hot. Why is the surface so hot? Definitely heat is transferred from the silver cup to his hand. That's why he finds that it is hot. Okay, now we check the options. Option A, convection takes place in the boiling water. Heat is transferring from the silver cup to the hand. Silver cup is solid, hand is solid. Convection is a heat transfer method in liquid, not in solid. So A is not the possible option. Option B, silver is good conductor of heat. Yes, it is the correct option. Silver is a good conductor of heat, and because of that heat is transferred from the silver cup to his hand. So correct option is option B. Question number 17 is same as in paper 1 variant 1. Question number 18. Different amounts of energy are supplied to copper blocks of different masses. Which block experiences the greatest temperature change? Amount of heat is given as mc delta T. where this M is for mass, C is for specific heat capacity, and delta T is change in temperature. So we can say change in temperature delta T will be equal to Q over M into C. Now here all the blocks are made up of copper. Since the material is same, so specific heat capacity for all the blocks will be same. So simply here we can say that change in temperature will be equal to Q over M. Now here we have two columns. In the first column we have given mass, and in the second column we have given energy, or we can say we have given amount of heat. In the first option, option A, the change in temperature will be equal to 200 over 0.1. When we will solve this one, we will get 2000. Okay, in the option B, when we will solve this 200 divided by 0.2, we will get 1000. When we will solve this 600 divided by 0.4, we will get 1500. And when we will solve this 400 over 0.8, we will get 500. So here it is clear that greatest change in temperature is in option A, where the value is 2000. So our correct option is option A. Greatest change in temperature is in option A. Question number 19. A fixed mass of gas is kept at constant pressure. Its temperature is raised. What happens to the volume of the gas and to its molecule? It is given here at constant pressure. At constant pressure we are increasing temperature. So it is in accordance with the Charles law. Charles law states at constant pressure, when we will increase temperature of a gas, its volume increases. Volume is directly proportional to applied temperature. Now we check the options. Here we have two columns. In the first column, volume is given. In the second column, molecules is given. Okay, for the volume, first we check what is given in the options. Since here with the increase in temperature, volume increases. So volume increases is given in option B and C. So possible options are B and C. Now about the molecules, we will check only B and C. For molecules, in B it is given stay the same distance apart. In C it is given move further apart. Since here volume is increasing means the distance in between the molecules is increased. So here the molecules will move apart. So correct option, option C, where it is given volume increases and molecules move further apart. Question number 20. Air is heated in a sealed container with constant volume. Why does the air pressure increases when the temperature increases? Here we are increasing the temperature, and with the increase in temperature volume is constant. When volume is constant, with the increase in temperature the molecules of the gas will move faster, and when they will move faster they will strike more frequently with the wall of the container, and when they will strike more frequently with the wall of the container, the pressure of the gas will be increased. Now we check the options. Option A, the air molecules expand. The molecules do not expand. Molecules remains of same size. So A is incorrect. In B, it is given the air molecules bounces off each other more frequently. Yes, they bounces off each other more frequently, but pressure of the gas is not because of the striking of the molecules with each other. So this option is incorrect. Option C, the air molecules bounce off the wall more frequently. Yes, it is the correct reason. When the molecules of the gas strike with the wall of the container, it exerts pressure, and with the increase in temperature, the striking of the molecule with the wall of the container increases, so pressure will be increased. So here correct option, option C. What is given in the option D? The number of air molecules increases. No, number of air molecules remains same. It will neither increase nor decrease. So option D is incorrect. Correct option is option C. Now we have completed up to question number 20. The remaining part from 21 to 40 we will solve in the next session. Thank you very much.